when he can provide length to the starting rotation, provide some innings, I think that's going to be the most effective Landon Knack, and that's going to create opportunities eventually and hopefully for him to get to the big league level with the Dodgers. Really seen as kind of a high floor type starter, where he's going to be one of those guys who can be a good starting pitcher. He's getting up there a little bit in age, just having to do with, you again have to look back at the COVID season, taking about a year, and then talking about a year deal with injuries and stuff. But Landon Knack still has a ton of talent. There's still a ton of upside. And this past season, he really showed just how good he is, posting a 2.2 ERA in Tulsa. And then in AAA, he posted a 2.93 ERA as well. What is the key to Landon Knack, and what he really showed when he was really good was when he was able to keep the ball in the zone. Yep. If he's really able to keep his walks really low, he can really control the zone. He can limit some of the damage that he gives up, and he can be a really good, really effective, high floor starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
No doubt about that. His deal, you just mentioned it a minute ago, he is a skilled, very skilled strike thrower, and with 4 different pitches.
My tight slider reads as a cutter at times, but yeah, no. So it's all 4 pitches I've been feeling like really, really good lately. I feel like I'm landing all of them for strikes whenever I want to, and my stuff is feeling about as good as it ever has.
When you're on top of your game like you have been this year, what's your key?
Really, it's getting that secondary stuff going. So like this year, especially being able to kind of play off like the slider changeup combo of having both a little bit, and being able to land both, really keep them off balance. If I'm getting really both of those going, then things get much easier for me out there. I think I have the pitchability, the stuff to be able to pitch at the major league level right now. I think basically just keeping that consistent velo up right now is just kind of the last piece of that puzzle, just keeping things strong, because I think pitchability wise I have the stuff right now to be able to get outs up there at a high level.
What one thing or set of things are you working on the most?
Really just keeping the throw in the right place, so that makes it a little easier to keep that velo consistent. Because right now I feel like all my stuff is where I need it to be, just continuing to fine-tune a couple things here and there, but really just making sure that my throw is in its strongest spot.
He can do anything you ask him to do. You can't game plan against him, because he'll be able to exploit you both horizontally and vertically in the zone. And he's good enough to go ahead and throw all those pitches exactly where he wants to. So slider played up really well last year. The changeup has air brakes. It's one of those pitches that looks exactly like his fastball until it's 11 miles an hour slower than it, and it's guys are looking silly trying to swing at it. And he throws his 4-seam at the top of the zone. Like, he can climb the zone so well.
Yep.
And he flips in his curveball in 0-0 counts, early, middle counts, and steals a strike, doesn't get a ton of swings on it because it's just like a different look. And then it doesn't allow him to overexpose anything else he throws. And similar to what we were just talking about with Orlando, before you know it, he's through 5 innings and you have 1 hit and he struck out 8. He's another guy that's an absolute bulldog. I know that he had a tougher year in 22, but this past year is just what's going to happen more often than not with him. And I know that he put in a ton of work in the offseason and CBR the year before as well. And I know he's doing that now. I can't say enough good things about Landon as a pitcher. He works so hard, and he is going to be a staple of helping our big league team going forward.
You mentioned being like Orlando in the sense that he can go deeper into games. He's actually the only pitcher at AAA Oklahoma City all year long that made it through 7 innings, believe it or not.
Yeah, and at the time before he left us, I think he had 2 of our 3 quality starts in the first half. Mm-hmm. I know his last start that he had with us was in a crucial playoff race against Arkansas, and he just absolutely diced them for 7 2/3 innings, and it was just kind of like it was like, hey, big moment, Landon, here's the ball, here's the opposing lineup you're going to go face, go get them. And he knew exactly what he wanted to do to each guy, and he went out and did it. It's refreshing to sit back and see him go to work, because everything he does in between starts is so detailed and so process oriented, to the point where he gets there on game day and it's another day, because he's already done everything that he wanted to do for that week. Now it's just a matter of like, I'm just going to go get everybody out.
Take us through the day after you pitch, your routine, and your routine in between starts.
Yeah, the day after is it's a mixture of like recovery and you got to get a lift in. So the day after you show up, you do your conditioning to start the day, do about either 30 minutes on like an elliptical or come out here, do a little bit of a run outside, and then get your lift in. It's always usually lower body day, get like a little leg lift, and then hit the training room, get some little soft tissue. I'm a fan of needling after the day after. And so needles are kind of been my go-to for most of the season. And then the rest of the week, it's if it's a 5-day and not a 6, like kind of like a 6-day where a lot of the season is right here. If it's a 5-day, day 2 is when you would throw your bullpen, and that's when I would get my upper body lift in. And then
what percent would you throw that at?
Bullpen, depends on how we're feeling. If it's a 6-day and it's kind of that extra day before the pen, I'll throw it more, about like 90-95% intensity, like kind of get on it a little bit. If it's a 5-day, it'll be more about like 80-85%, kind of like just kind of work on stuff, get the feel for things, and then kind of the day 3 and day 4 leading up to your start day, it's kind of like another kind of recovery day from the bullpen, kind of do maybe like a full body circuit, and then day 4, just get in here, get like feel good, get your stuff, and then maybe do some sprints to kind of get your CNS moving.
Landon Knack performed really well during his outing during opening day in Tacoma for the Oklahoma City Baseball Club. You got to see some of the command that he has, the effectiveness of that he pitched with, starting out in AAA. And that is some of the things that we want to see out of a Landon Knack, is when he is at his best, is when he has that command of his pitches, when he can provide length to the starting rotation, provide some innings. I think that's going to be the most effective Landon Knack, and that's going to create opportunities eventually and hopefully for him to get to the big league level with the Dodgers.